Shabbat Shalom. In this week's Torah portion of Parshat Shoftim, we are told about the laws related to a king. And in one of the laws related to the king, the Torah instructs him to write 2 Sifrei Torah, 2 Torah scrolls. One that would travel with him constantly. The second one that will be stored in the library, in the royal library, in the Aron HaKodesh. Why was it so important that the king was to write 2 Torah scrolls? If anyone has actually looked inside a Torah scroll and has seen the complexity of the text and see how hard it is to write every single letter, not to make a mistake, it is surely a difficult task to complete. And here the king has said, you shall write 2 of them. This was a challenge for any person, and especially for a king who's so busy with all the other duties that he has. Will he have time to write these 2 Sifrei Torah? And write them, he does. But here is something. In order to write those 2 Sifrei Torah, the king had to be trained in the art of the writing, learning how to calligraphy each of those Hebrew letters, to imbue them with Kedusha, with holiness. That would take time, that would take effort, and that would take time to study the text and study these rules. He would be required to learn from sages, from scholars, from scribes who were experts in their trade, to teach him the ways to write. And it was through this act of writing these 2 Torah scrolls that hopefully the king would absorb a number of important lessons that would help him to run his kingdom. Number 1, you are not an expert in every sphere. Seek advice. Talk to your advisors. Get their opinions on the topics. Number 2, learn, read up. You are not an expert in everything. You need to read, you need to focus, and need to understand what the issues are that are facing you today. Number 3, keep that learning with you wherever you go. Constantly refer to them. Constantly have that Torah next to you so you can refer to it at every step of the way. I don't know about you, but I've noticed that when you read stories about successful businessmen and politicians, one thing that stands out is how much they read. Ben Gurion in his library had thousands of books. Next to his bedside table, there were volumes of books. Even next to my book, and I don't compare myself to anybody, there's a whole list of books that I need to get through. Different topics. And every time I open up the book and I read, I learn something new. I'm exposed to a new idea, a new thought, a new way of approaching something, a new insight, how to try and understand the world around me. It is through this learning and through this reading that I'm able to engage and have a better understanding of the world that I live in. And thus says the Torah to the king, you are to be the leader of the people. You are to guide them and to care for them and to make sure that you lead them in a way that brings them success in every aspect of their lives. You are their king. But you can't do it alone. So therefore have the 2 Sifrei Torah. Make sure that you have a library of information at your back and carry information with you at all times to refer to. This is the lesson that the Torah gives to our king. And this is the lesson that each and every one of us needs to learn too. And you might think to yourself, this is so hard. How am I possibly going to be able to finish all these books? Well, here's a little challenge. All you have to do is read 10 pages a day. That equates to 3,650 pages in 1 year. Considering that the average book is between 250 and 300 pages, you will cover between 10 and 12 books a year. Easy. And if you multiply that by the years of one's life, imagine how much information you can learn, you can absorb, and you can apply. So be like a king. Make sure that you are reading, and through the reading, you are growing, because that is how you achieve success in your personal realm. Shabbat Shalom.